I recently started rowing. Not rowing on the East River or the Hudson. I'll leave that for maybe next summer. I'll be ready for that. Now, I've started rowing indoors at a place called City Row. Full disclosure, I'm not being paid to endorse City Row, and I get no cut of the profits if you decide to work out there. Thus endeth the disclaimer. I started rowing because I was feeling out of shape. I felt like I was getting too creaky, sitting far too much. I was running out of gas too often by the end of the day. I was watching my cholesterol numbers do things that shall we say, were suboptimal. And I was, if I'm being fully honest, a little afraid to go back to my doctor one more time and admit that no, I was still not getting any regular exercise. I know myself, at least a little bit. I've joined gyms before. Heck, there's one in the apartment building where we live. But I know myself well enough. Have I mentioned that I've joined gyms before? To know that in the past, if no one was expecting me at the gym, if no one was holding me accountable, if no one said to me, hey, we haven't seen you for a little while, I would end up going a few times with all the best intentions and then soon begin to make every really good and creative excuse about why I just didn't have time to go back. I would come home in pain after one particular workout and say to myself, I'm never doing that again. And Alyssa would be endlessly patient with me, as she always is, paying the gym bills every month until I came around to admit defeat once again. So I knew that this time, if it were going to be different, I needed to pick a place that had classes that wouldn't hurt my creaky knees and my middle-aged creaky back. Someone said, you should try rowing. Rowing. It's been kind of fun so far. The classes are interesting. Never the same thing twice, which is really good for me. The teachers are firm but patient, pushing me to push myself and understanding when I need to take a break. And even when I feel the burn of the workout the next day, I know that teachers like Shay and Rachmel and Luis will both be patient with me, and they'll gently nudge me to come back. And most importantly, only a few weeks in, I can feel myself getting stronger. I can feel muscles I didn't remember I had getting more toned. And my endurance is already much better than it was when I started. So you can find me at City Row 2 or 3 times a week at an early morning class. Maybe I'll see you there. I'll be the sweaty, out-of-breath guy in the Billy Joel t-shirt. My friends, I'm going to admit to you that the news these days also leaves me rather breathless. It beats me down. Pick a news channel or a newspaper of your choice. It can leave one weak, at a loss for what to do. My Twitter and Facebook feeds can at times leave me scared, even traumatized. So what does a rabbi do when she or he feels this way? Here's some inside scoop. Even rabbis need rabbis. So what do I do when I feel this way? I go talk to my rabbis. And I'm always looking for more rabbis. They're not always actually ordained rabbis, but they are people who, like Shay and Rachmel and Luis, are both patient with my pain and lovingly, insistently help me get back on the rowing machine that is the work of world repair. Just as I was feeling most spiritually out of breath this week, I fortunately ran into one of my rabbis, David Adelson. Rabbi Adelson is the dean of the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, where Leah is studying to become a cantor, and Cantor Kipnis and I were both ordained. This past week, I had the luxury of spending a bunch of time with Rabbi Adelson, and he shared with me a profound teaching that I needed to hear. Hope, he said, is a muscle that we need to exercise. Hope is a muscle that we need to exercise. I've been thinking a lot about that this week. Right now, my friends, I am aware that hope, like my abs and triceps, is a muscle, and boy, do I need to exercise it. Anyone with me for a hope workout? We Jews live in hope. We hold hope even in the darkest days. Our Israeli national anthem is called The Hope, and it speaks of a longing that didn't die even in 2,000 years of exile. We have been in dark places before as a people, as a nation, and we have worked hard not to lose our hope. But it doesn't stay strong on its own, that hope. Hope is a muscle we need to exercise. One of my new spiritual rabbis is Robert Bank, the CEO of American Jewish World Service. He and I were speaking recently about this feeling of helplessness, this feeling that is akin to trauma, the feeling that there are a confluence of events that conspire to bring your soul down. I asked Robert what he does when he feels this way, and he pointed me to a learning he got from a journalist and author named David Bornstein. Bornstein has said that it's both the recognition of the world's pain and the recognition of the world's possibilities that bring change. You need both of these. We need to make people aware of the pain. We need to create outrage about the pain. But recognition of possibilities is sometimes the thing that is forgotten because the problems scream, but the solutions whisper. The problems scream, but the solutions whisper. I'm holding that idea as we enter into this Shabbat. Just because the problems scream doesn't mean that there aren't any solutions. It used to be said that bad news sells newspapers. Maybe the modern equivalent is bad news sells internet advertising. But just because our news feeds are filled with problems, that doesn't mean we are at a total loss for ways to address them. If you're interested in exploring solutions, let's talk. Let's talk about the incredible direct service work that your sacred congregation is already doing, that needs your time and your support and your passionate desire to help. Let's talk about the rapid response work we are engaged in that needs your pent-up energy to march, to protest, to welcome a refugee family, to register voters. Let's talk about the community organizing we are engaged in across lines of race and faith and class that need your anger and your ideas. Let's talk about the ways in which we are getting proximate with our neighbors and the ways in which our mutual self-interest can help us act powerfully together to make systemic change. And you can teach me about the solutions you have in mind, too. You can be one of my rabbis. Another one of my so-called rabbis that I was reminded of this week is the great 20th century English novelist, short story writer, and essayist, E.M. Forster. He wrote in his work, Howard's End, "Only connect. Only connect the prose and the passion," he wrote, "and both will be exalted, and human love will be seen at its height. Live in fragments no longer. Only connect, and the beast and the monk, robbed of the isolation that is life to either, will die." Only connect. Only connect. I don't have to do this alone. I don't have to feel this way alone. Only connect. Connect to a community, maybe a congregation of people who don't want to feel alone. Connect to people who want to connect the prose and the passion and exalt them both. Connect to people who don't want the beast or the monk to rule the day. Only connect. This will be my mantra this Shabbat. If it feels right to you, if you are feeling helpless or hopeless or confused or powerless, I invite you to make it yours as well. If you feel beaten down, my friends, let's connect. Let's hear each other's pain. And let's help keep a little bit of perspective. Another one of my rabbis, who asked to remain anonymous because she didn't want to be thought of as being heartless to my pain, helped me with a little perspective by saying something hard to me that I also needed to hear. She said, "You say you're traumatized. That's a big word." She said, "Is that really so, traumatized, as you sit with your family in the air conditioning on the Upper East Side of New York City? You say you're scared? Maybe tell that to your therapist. I know you're worried," this rabbi said, "and there's work to do. You have until the end of Shabbat to wallow," my rabbi said. "Then it's time to use the power and privilege you have to get back to work." Whew. Sometimes we need rabbis in our lives to help us keep perspective, to kick us in the tush. My friends, we have Shabbat. Welcome. It's going to be hot and sweaty this Shabbat. So if you want to stay inside nice and cool, I don't blame you. You want to skip your workout just this once, you have my permission, although I'll be at City Row bright and early tomorrow morning. And now I've said it to all of you, so I actually have to go. You need to connect with someone to unload your worries and your fears. Find a friend, a loved one, a rabbi, a cantor, or a therapist to speak to. These are hard days. I'm not asking you not to feel that pain. But then let's get back on the rowing machine. Hope is a muscle. Let's exercise it. We've got work to do. We've got places to go. We've got muscles to flex. We've got strength to build. Let's help each other through the pain. Let's keep each other coming back even when it hurts, even when we're tired, even when we're sore, and let's seek solutions that beckon to us and not just wallow in the problems that scream at us. Shabbat Shalom.